Celebration. Celebration. Welcome to Goat vs. Fish. And this verse is of Goat vs. Fish Thursday. Goat vs. Fish. The Goatfish has a special versus for you. Try as you try, die as you may die, and ask why as you may ask why. You've never seen a versus quite like Tie-Dye. Tie-Dye is in the verses of Goat vs. Fish. Celebration! Enjoy the musications. And are you goat or are you fish? Versus Celebration. These guys are the goats of live jamming. How do you know they're not fish? How do you know they're not fish? Welcome to Goat vs. Fish. Let's see who's in the verses of Goat vs. Fish. TMLZ Rules is in the verses and is declaring for fish. TMLZ Rules is declaring for fish. Hawkface is in the verses. Dizzy B Busy is here with Goat vs. Fish. Rami is here for a celebration. JJ and Luca Games 123 says I use the same music distribution services. Celebration, celebration. Fish, JJ says fish. JJ and Luca say fish, fish, fish. Is he Jimi Hendrix' loved grandchild? Oh, wait a versus. Is any one of you Jimi Hendrix's loved grandchild? They want to know.
That's my dad.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Jimi Hendrix's love grandchild is in the verses. Shred 'em a verses. Shred 'em a verses. Play something, anything for Goat versus Fish. Celebration. Goat versus Fish. Let's count a few Goat and Fish. Let's count a few Goat and Fish. Are you Goat or are you Fish? Rami is Goat. Rami is Goat. Celebration for Goat. Celebration for Goat. Celebration for Goat. Dizzy be busy. Are you Goat or are you Fish? Ying versus Ying. Howard Lucan. It's Goat versus Fish. It's Goat versus Fish. Puckface goes Goat. That's two Goat. That's two Goat in the verses. Celebration for Goat. Celebration for Goat. Confirmed. Confirmation. Tell me TMLC rules goes Fish. That's a Fish. Celebration for Fish. Celebration for Fish. Dizzy be busy goes Goat for life. That's another Goat. Celebration for Goat. Howard Lucan goes Goat. That's for Goat. For Goat. For Goat versus the Fish. For Goat versus Fish. Hazemaker 420. Are you Goat or are you Fish? Hazemaker goes Fish. Hazemaker goes Fish. That's 4 Goat and 2 Fish. 4 Goat and 2 Fish, and it's about to be a mighty versus. It's about to be a mighty versus. Here in studio, Goat versus Fish, we want to bring you the finest verses of Goat and Fish that have ever been perceived in the universe. Fence sitters beware. Get off of that fence, choose Goat or Fish, and enjoy the celebration, enjoy the musication. Brought to you by Goat versus Fish. It's tie-dye with Goat versus Fish. Bring it down now. And allow Goat versus Fish to share with you the one versus true. In the beginning, there was Goat versus Fish, the Goat Fish. And Goat versus Fish said that there should be goat and that there should be fish. There is no alpha or omega. There is no black or white. There is no good or evil. There is only Goat. Celebration for Goat. Celebration for Goat. Celebration for Goat. Celebration for Fish! A goat is a goat and a fish is a fish. A fish is a fish and a goat is not a goat. A goat is a fish and a fish is a goat. A goat is not a fish and a fish is not a goat. A goat is a goat. A goat is a fish if a fish is a goat. If a fish is a goat, if a goat is a fish. Capricorn versus Pisces. Is it truly goat versus fish? Is it truly goat versus fish? The fence sitter will deceive you with false verses. But goat versus fish only gives you true verses. Do not sit on the fence. Choose goat or fish. And celebration for Tie-Dye, who joins goat versus fish. Swordfish. Celebration, celebration, celebration! Let's get to know the verses, let's get to know the verses. Are you goat or are you fish? Celebration for goat, celebration for goat! Celebration for goat! Why do you choose goat? Why do you choose goat?
Goats live on land like me, and I like living on land.
Celebration! The goat likes to live on the land where it likes to live because it lives on the land. And they go hand in hand. They go hoof in hoof. Let's hear a solo. Let's hear the solo ruminations of the goat on the bass, the 5-string bass. Let's hear the verses. Let's hear the goat. Goat. Celebration for goat. Celebration for goat. Moving through the verses now. Are you goat or are you fish? Make some noise for the goat. That's two. Goat. That's two. Goat. That's two. Goat. Goat. How do you versus the fish? How do you versus the fish?
I drown it in the water.
Drowning the fish? Drowning the fish? The fish mocks you. The fish mocks the goat. You're going to try to drown the fish in the sea of the fish? What is this, your first verses of goat versus fish?
I love fish.
Oh, the goat loves the fish. The goat loves the fish. Aww. Celebration for the love of goat versus fish. The goat is going to try to drown the fish, beat the fish at its own verses, Let us hear the sound. Let us hear the aquatic sound because, well, goat, you're going into the sea of the fish. So are you certain that your sounds are not going to be muffled by the sea of the fish because you're trying to drown the goat?
No.
No. Let us hear the sound of the goat. Celebration for goat, celebration for goat. It's the second goat in the verses on the guitar. On the guitar, it's the second goat of the verses. This cost him 8,000 verse American dollars. Who cost this 8,000 verse American dollars? Did you cost goat versus fish 8,000 verse American dollars? Exclamation point tip. Please, please, please give goat versus fish 8,000 verse American dollars. Yes, of course, we need every verses. We need every verses. And here on the kit, are you goat or are you fish?
I think I'm fish.
Ooh. Ah. You think you're a fish. You think you're a fish? There seems to be some hesitation in this verses.
I'm a fish.
Celebration for fish! Celebration for fish! Fish, you are surrounded by goat. What do you say to the goat? What do you say to the goat? What do you say to the goat?
I have nothing to say to them.
Nothing to say to goat. Silence, 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 silence to goat. The fish says... Nothing to goat! Nothing to goat! It's utter silence! It's utter silence! Well, prove your silence. Prove your silence. Let us hear the sound of the fish. Celebration, celebration. The fine verses. That did not sound very silent to Goat versus Fish. We thought you had nothing to say to Goat. Well, what was that? That sounded like a lot of something to Goat versus Fish.
I have to be with them, so I have to play with them.
The goat has to play with the fish. The goat has to play with the fish.
Neither of them eat fish, so they have nothing to say.
Who eats the fish?
Either of them.
They don't eat fish? Is this a true versus? Goats, do you eat fish?
No, fish are friends, not food.
No, he's a picky eater, and he is a vegetarian.
Yeah, I'm a picky eater. He's a vegetarian.
So you as the fish, do you eat fish?
Yes, fish is good.
Fish are known to eat fish. Savage fish. Savage fish.
I'm a beta fish.
You're a beta fish. Beta fish. Oh, but beta fish, when you get two beta fish together, they really start to versus like it's goat versus fish, even though they're both fish.
Yeah, I don't really care about the alpha fishes. Or
No alpha fishes. What about alpha goats?
Sigma goat.
It's still a goat.
Still a goat.
No matter how you shave it.
Sigma goat.
Sigma goat. We've got sigma goats. We've got beta fishes. We've got goat versus fish. You were playing a versus earlier. It was something about the goat dividing the fish, or the fish becoming the goat, or it was some kind of classic versus that was recognized by Goat versus Fish. Let's hear some musications. Let's hear some classic musications on the stream of Goat versus Fish with Tie Dye. With a subscription to Goat vs. Fish celebration. versus fish. Well, the goat destroys the fish divides the goat. Try to climb, try to float, break on through from the fancy side, break on through from the fancy side, break on through, break on through. Which one are you, a goat or fish? Yeah! You try to hide from goat versus fish, you fence sitter, you, but break on through. And choose goat or fish, and choose goat or fish. Versus fish. Bring it down for goat versus fish. Bring it down for goat versus fish. Rami, you're saying to goat versus fish, you're saying the mic is off, vocals are muted. Muted for what? Muted for what? Tell goat versus fish. Tell goat versus fish. Could you hear goat versus fish? When we sang the verses, could you hear that the goat divides the fish and the fish becomes the goat and to break on through from the fancy side? Could you hear that verses? Could you hear that verses? Could you hear the song of goat versus fish? Okay, now, goat versus fish. We know goat versus fish is the celebration now. But what about the verses before? What about the verses before? What was goat versus fish? Well, the verses must continue. You could hear that verses 99 LSD OCD. Welcome to goat versus fish. 99 LSD OCD. Are you goat or are you fish? Are you goat or are you fish? Baird 420 with the subscription to Goat vs. Fish. New Vegas 10,000. Are you goat or are you fish? Baird 420, we did hear the call of Goat vs. Fish. 99 LSD OCD goes goat. Rami the goat, Rami declaring goat. New Vegas 10,000 goes goat. Celebration for goat. Tyrus with a subscription to Goat vs. Fish. That's 25 months of Goat vs. Fish. That's 25 months of Goat vs. Fish. And Tyrus with 200 bits. Tyrus with 200 bits. Tyrus with 200 bits. Let's give them a celebration. Celebration for Tyrus. Celebration. Yeah! Tyrus with 25 months of Goat vs. Fish. Celebration! That's the verses. Yes. And then the verses just continue just like this. This is the power of Goat vs. Fish. Hear the musication emanation from behind Goat vs. Fish. And the tide, we take great pride. Let Goat vs. Fish tell you a verses. Goat vs. Fish takes great pride in the tide. The tide that is the coming and going of the sea of the fish onto the land of the goat. It's very Goat vs. Fish. In comes the sea of the fish. And then recession, back again, the tide again. And then back comes the fish, Recession again. The goat and the fish in a mutual cycle of tides and prides. And the eye, of course, some say you can perceive Goat vs. Fish with your third eye. But is the third eye even goat or is it fish? Or is the third eye merely a deception? You've got your goat, you've got your fish, you've got your fish, you've got your goat. Is the third eye some kind of fancy perception, or is it the true verses of Goat vs. Fish? Goat vs. Fish. We were looking at the Spotify, where you can find the single of Goat vs. Fish, of course. And we saw that Tie-Dye had a new release, a new musication. And it contained two fish. The Pisces we saw. We wonder, would you be willing to play us some Pisces fish, Are you ready to hear the sound of the fish? We're going to give you some fish behind. There's your fish. Here's the fish. There's the fish. Celebration for fish. You're about to hear Pisces by Tie-Dye. So this one goes out to all the fish out there, and we're going to just let you hear the musications. Make some celebration for the new hit verses by Tie-Dye. Pisces Celebration! The verses are yours. The goat are waiting. The goat are becoming impatient. They're mocking the fish. They're like, are you even prepared for fish?
The fish are coming. The goats come later.
Goats come later.
Because we love goats. Save the best for last.
just focusing on a living.
Nothing
and I'm drowning.
That Goat vs. Fish used their power to pull this band straight out of an outdoor concert in the 1960s. We bring the verses to you.
This is great. Fish had its chance. Then will come the goats. And the goats will come with a vengeance. But so will the fish. Tuned in to Goat versus Fish.
Celebration. Goat versus fish. Sounds like they want the celebration of Goat versus Fish. Sounds like they want the celebration of Goat versus Fish. Bring us the verses, bring us the verses. Bring us the verses of Goat versus Fish. We want the celebration of Goat versus Fish. We want the celebration of Goat versus Fish. That was tie-dye, with pie. Pie by the seas of the fish. We heard some verses that they were calling you the most celebration. They were calling you medicinal. They were calling tie-dye medicinal. What do you say? What do you say to this? What do you say to medicinal?
Music is healing.
Music is healing. Music is healing. Let's see if we can hear Goat versus Fish. Oh, let's plug in Goat versus Fish. let's plug in Goat versus Fish.
You can find our records at your nearest medicinal marijuana shop.
Celebration for the grass of the land and the weed of the sea. So that's a humble versus. Let's see if we can give Goat versus Fish just a little verses. So that's Goat versus Fish. So let's Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish. There's Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish. It goes a little verses like this. Celebration. Celebration! Celebration! Increase all voltage, crank it, says Rami. Welcome those of you on YouTube and welcome those of you on Twitch. Welcome to a versus of Goat versus Fish. Exclamation tide, exclamation TID, exclamation tide in the Twitch chat of Goat versus Fish, or just search for Tide-I band wherever you like to find things, whether it be on the sea or the land, and you will find this versus. We will find this versus. May Goat versus Fish, that was a fine celebration of Pisces. But we do have one question. We noticed that of all of your most recent songs, at least on Spotify, and Goat versus Fish, we're not here to take it easy. Not easy on Goat, not easy on Tie-Dye. We ask the hard-hitting verses. We couldn't help but notice that Fish, for all its celebration, was one of your least listened to tracks on Spotify. Oh, explain that for Fish. Is it a weak fish?
I blame the fish, but we just put it out like a week or two ago.
Just a week ago, so it's a new fish.
It's a new fish.
Give a listen to the fish. Find Tie-Dye on Spotify. Goat versus Fish will post the link tree in the chat of Twitch of Goat versus Fish. And then we'll copy that verses. So go to Spotify, give a listen to the fish. Let's get those fish numbers up. More fish. Hello, Blasphemous, and welcome to Goat versus Fish. How about we celebration? Celebration! BBDH187 says glug glug, everyone. Moito Cycle 15 says fish. Allow Goat versus Fish. Shall we teach you a versus of Goat versus Fish? Ready to learn some Goat versus Fish? We're going to turn a versus. We're going to turn towards the tide. Goat versus Fish is not afraid to turn towards the tide. So we'll play the verses for you once through, and you just pick up on Goat versus Fish whenever you wish. Contribution to Goat versus Fish. Contribution to Goat versus Fish. $4 American dollars and 20 cents. $4 American dollars and 20 cents has been donation to Goat versus Fish. Celebration! Yes,
I
we
know
enjoy.
Contribution $4.20 to GoatVsFish. Celebration?
Celebration indeed. 420, yes. Some like to get high with Goat versus Fish and Tie-Dye. Just don't get high on the fence. Just don't get high on the fence. We actually thought we had turned off alert notifications so that we could focus on the musications, but it sounds like we're just going to have more alerts on Goat versus Fish. It's a wild versus. Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish is live on the Twitch. Now we go to E. Now to E here. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish is a goat and a e-fish. Now to D for goat versus fish. Goat versus fish, back to A brings the verses to you. Back to D again, yes. We promise the verses we tell you are true. Once more. What's goat versus fish? You haven't a clue. Back to E, but it is something to do. Hang on it, do. Hang on the, yes. So when you hang on that E, it goes like this. Brings the verses to you. D, we promise the verses we tell you are true. Once more. What's goat versus fish? You haven't a clue. Back down to E, but hang on E. It is something to do. Hang there, do. Now it is something to do. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish is goat versus fish. And it is what it is. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish is a goat and a fish. E. And the goat and fish E. Up to D now. And goat versus fish brings the verses to A to you. We promise the verses we tell you are true. What's goat versus fish? You haven't a clue. E, but it is something to do. Hey, do. It is something to do. Well, we're learning goat versus fish. It's a live learn of goat versus fish. It's a live learn of goat versus fish. Celebration New Vegas. Goat fence fish, gunpowder cash. Don't put a fence between the goat and the fish. We want the goat and the fish two verses. You want the goat and the fish two verses. Here's another verses of goat versus fish. An even simpler, more classic verses of goat versus fish. This song was rejected on America's Got Talent. It's got the shape of the C of the fish. It's got the shape of the F of the also the fish. And of course, it's got the G of the goat. And it's a classic verses. We will play it for you. We'll play it for you once, and we will show you how it goes. It goes like this. Do you be goat? 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 Do you be fish? Do you be fish? Do you be fish? Do you be goat? Do you be goat? Or do you be fish? Because the goat do be goat and the fish do be fish. Do you be goat or a fish? Don't sit on the bed. Well, goat are of the land and fish are of the sea. About a goat versus fish, which one do you be? Do you be goat or a fish? Do you be goat or a fish? Do you be goat or a fish? Because the goat do be goat and the fish do be fish. Do you be goat or a fish? Don't sit on the fence. Goat versus fish came up to me and said, a goat or a fish, which one do you be? Do you be goat or a fish? 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 Because the goat do be goat and the fish do be fish. Do you be goat or a fish? Don't sit on the fence. Take it away, goat. Take it away, bass goat. away, drumfish. Now repeat. Repeat after goat versus fish. A doobie 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 doobie. Repeat after goat versus fish. Doobie 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 doobie. A doobie 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 doobie. A doobie 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 doobie. Ah, doobie 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 goat doobie goat doobie goat doobie goat oh doobie fish. Because the goat doobie goat and the fish doobie fish. Do you be goat or a fish? Don't sit on the fence. Celebration, celebration. Celebration, yes! They are trying to interpret goat versus fish. But even the simplest verses of goat versus fish is not so easy to interpretation. It's hard to keep up with the extremely immaculately talented goat versus fish. What's it like? What's it like playing? Oh, they're making adjustments, critical verses.
I need to hear the guitar. I can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear the guitar of goat versus fish.
No.
Fascination! They can't even hear goat versus fish.
Please play something.
Time for goat versus fish to play verses.
Here's a shout out.
Can you hear goat versus fish?
Yes, I can.
Now you can all hear goat versus fish. This has been a great experimentation. Celebration to tie-dye for the experimentation with goat versus fish. Oh, where's fish? Fish! Oh, my verses! Oh, my verses, fish! Fish has dunked the inebriation all over the studio of goat versus fish. Oh, no. It's okay. It's okay. Just play along with goat versus fish. What have you done to goat versus fish? What have you done to goat versus fish? Turn it all the way up to 11, please. Well, that's what they say. But 11 kind of looks like two fence posts right next to each other. Goat versus fish. We are going to get something to dry the eye of the tied eye, and we're just going to let them riff on goat. Oh, they're using goat versus fish. Oh, my verses. This is an interesting verses of goat versus fish. Let's show this. We need this for documentation. Goat and fish. The drummer Sticks Fish is currently employing what some would consider the most holy and sacred towels of goat versus fish, and using it to clean the studio of goat versus fish. And it's the honor of goat versus fish. It is honor of goat versus fish. They say that goat versus fish is next to cleanliness, or is it that cleanliness is next to goat versus fishliness? Yes, we think that's what they say. Pickle Tonu. Pickle Tonu says, "Are you goat or fish?" It's nice. It's a nice verses. Celebration for the fish with sticks. Celebration for fish sticks. Celebration. So we hear that you had a song of fish. You had the Pisces song of fish, and we hear that you also have a song of goat. Is this a true verse? Did you have a goat song?
This is true. Where'd you hear this from?
We heard it. We think we heard it from Bass Goat. We think we heard it from Bass Goat. Bass Goat. So, do you have a song of goats? Do you prefer the goat song or the fish song? What do you say?
Fish song.
Fish says fish. What does goat say?
I'm gonna say fish, but we're gonna rock you with goat.
We're going to rock you with goat. Rocks are for goat. Rocks are for goat for climbing. What do you call this goat song? Capricorn. Celebration. This is tie-dye. You've heard the song of the fish. Now you're going to hear the song of the goat. It's tie-dye on goat versus fish. Capricorn. Celebration. Celebration for goat! Celebration for goat! Goat, 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 goat! Goat, goat. Something to say to goat versus fish.
Goat.
Goat!
Capricornus. Goat.
Capricorn is goat! Capricorn is goat!
I'm gonna answer Sir Pubert.
Oh, you have a versus. Ah, yes, you can speak to the chat. You can say what you wish to goat versus fish. Yes, Sir Pubert.
Yes, Sir Pubert. I am doing that with my mouth.
So that's the sound of goat. That's the sound of goat. Let's get a close up. Let's get a close up at this special talent of goat. At this special talent of goat. Close up on goat. Let's hear the sound. Let's hear the sound of goat. Nice verses for goat. Let's get some love for goat in the chat of goat versus fish. That was some sound of goat. Let's see if goat versus fish can take some inspiration. Goat versus fish. I'll go. Goat versus fish.
Yeah.
Ah, didgeridoo, didgeridon't. Did you choose goat or fish? Did you choose goat or fish? Did you choose goat or fish? So many verses. Yes, Sticks Fish. You have something to say to goat versus fish. Please, a versus.
I believe instead of throat surgery, he got goat surgery.
I need goat surgery.
You need goat surgery.
Thank you.
You need. Well, they have said that.
He got goat surgery, not throat. He went in for a throat surgery and they gave him a goat surgery. Now he's a half goat.
Oh, my verses. The Fish Sticks has taken it upon themselves to creation and musication.
I'm having a bad trip. What are you doing?
I'm playing with you.
I'm freaking
Thank you for letting me use that.
Always thank goat versus fish. Always thank goat versus fish. Come loudly. Say it loudly for all to hear. Say it here. Say it here to goat versus fish. Say it here to goat versus fish.
Thank you. Goat
Good
versus
boy.
fish.
Good boy.
Always thank goat versus fish.
I'd like to give a shout out to Dallas, my Dalmatian.
Dallas the Dalmatian. Dallas the Dalmatian. Oh, we've spotted the Dalmatian before. Yes, they seem to be in obsession with whether or not it is black or if it is white. Is the Dalmatian black or is it white or is it blight or is it whack? We don't know about that versus. We just want to know if the Dalmatian is goat or fish. Shout out to the Dalmatian. Shout out to the Dalmatian. Bayodin 420 says, hell yes, always shout out your dogs. Always shout out your dogs. Is Dallas goat or fish, though? You can expect this question, says Año. Is Dallas goat or fish? Oh, we have the verses. We have evidence. Oh, appreciation. We have evidence. Celebration. So this is an interesting versus for goat versus fish because now we have the entire force of the tide's eye. We have the full force of tide eye just ready to back up goat versus fish. And goat versus fish has instructioned them well that anytime we say the secret special verses, that they are ready to play. They are ready to play. So goat versus fish, we have to be careful now because we know that goat versus fish is always a celebration. But now we know that every verses that we say celebration that it is going to be a celebration! So we have to be careful when we say that verses because they're just going to come in on Goat vs. Fish. Any verses we say that special verses. You know the verses. You know the verses. You know this verses. Lucidity of sound says fish. Celebration for fish. Let's get that fish in the verses. Let's get that fish.
Fishy, fishy,
Fish, 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 fish. Fish, 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 fish. Let's talk to the chat. Let's talk to the chat for a verses. Let's talk to the chat for a verses. Any of you who wish to speak to the chat, you may come up here and join Goat versus Fish, or you may speak to them from afar, Yes, Mosnil says, I'm here on behalf of the United Goat and Fish Alliance. Is that so, Mosnil? If you're here on behalf of the United Goat and Fish Alliance, we simply have to know, are you a goat or a fish? Is the Goat and Fish Alliance being represented by a goat or being represented by a fish? This is a critical verses. This is a critical verses. Lucidity of sound has said fish. Lucidity of sound has said fish. Rami says cat equals verses equals verses. We don't see, we see two verses but we don't see goat and fish in that. Rami, you're not making much sense to goat versus fish. Usually exactly. Exactly. That's what Goat versus Fish would have to say about that. Año says unification. Año says unification. Beodin 420 says, seeing the band close up only confirms that Goat vs. Fish clearly time warped this band from the 70s, especially that bassist. Well, last verses you said that we time warped from the 60s. Now you say it's the 70s. Oh, my verses, especially the bassist. Bassist, how do you respond to this accusation? Do we have confirmation? Are you from the 60s? Are you from the 70s? Tell us the origin of the bass-playing goat.
I just gotta say that's groovy, baby.
It's groovy. It's a groovy versus celebration. Celebration! Yes! The power of Goat versus Fish. Sir Pubert says, I've been smoking a lot and getting some hardcore want somebody to love. You want somebody to love. Do you know? Oh, yes. You want somebody to love? Well, Goat vs. Fish loves you. But the love that you have for Goat vs. Fish is returned to you. So the love you have for Goat vs. Fish is the love that you have for yourself. Tell us a bit about the origination of tie-dye. Tell us, how did the verses of tie-dye, what's the verses of tie-dye? How did it come into being? Tell Goat vs.
Well, it
Fish.
started out as a fish.
It started out as a fish?
Slowly evolved.
It started as a fish, and over time we evolved into a goat because we're
Well,
the
we
greatest of all
began-
time. We're the goats.
Well, hold on, you're
Just kidding,
skipping a
that's
lot. You're skipping a lot.
We're skipping a lot.
First we began to breathe out of water,
Ah.
and then some of us slowly turned into goats.
Ah, it was slow verses.
Slow verses.
Yes, why was it so slow? Why not quick, Goat?
Evolution.
Evolution.
Yeah.
And then it was quick.
Although I don't
DMT was
believe in
smoked.
that.
We smoked DMT and then we became goats.
I didn't do that yet, so I'm still a fish.
Ah, so we see. So is this the differentiation between goat and fish? It has to do with what we have consumed? Is this what we are hearing?
Yes, the fish are smoking seaweed, and the goats have access to the DMT.
Ah, is that so? Is that so? Yes.
No, I don't think so.
We don't think so. Remember, Goat and Fish, it's just a show that you're watching on the interwebiverse. Nothing that you hear here on your living stream may be actually anything that ever happened, except it's definitely Goat versus Fish, and it's definitely tie-dye with Goat versus Fish. Celebration, celebration. It's just a communication. It's just an innocent communication. Is rock and roll goat or fish? Now that is a question. Is rock and roll goat or fish? Let us hear what we have to say, starting with Central Goat.
Rock and roll is goat.
Rock and roll is goat. What is your evidence?
Because rock is of the earth.
Because rock is of the earth. Celebration. That is an evidence.
Yes.
That is quite an evidence. Fish sticks. Is rock and roll goat or fish?
That's good.
Is rock and roll goat or fish?
I plead the fifth.
You plead the fish?
Plead the fish.
Pleading the fish. Silence. We're pleading the fish. We're pleading the fish. This is Goat versus Fish. Any verses you say can and will be used against you by the goat.
The code of law.
The goat of law. The goat of law. Say it again. Say it again. It again. It again. Bass goat. Is rock and roll goat or fish? This is a critical versus.
Rock and roll is goat.
Rock and roll is goat. Celebration for goat. Beautiful verses, beautiful verses. How many millions of years has Tie-Dye been playing musications around the universe?
Oof.
0.0000.
No, it's more than that.
How many millions of years?
How many millions of eons? Yes.
0.000.
If you are going to speak, they have to hear what it is that you say, Fish.
At least 7 eons, maybe?
At least seven. At
Roughly.
least 7 eons.
I believe around 7 eons, yes.
Yes, around 7 eons. Yes, and what are some of your greatest triumphs? What would you say in your own verses?
The time we
The time we all became friends. It wasn't goat versus fish. It was more of a goat and fish.
The unity of GoatVsFish. The unification of goat and of fish. When goat and fish come together, great verses can be accomplished.
our greatest triumph was actually creating goat and then creating fish.
You created the goat and the fish?
Yes.
Ah.
The life of the goat.
Many ask goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Did you create the goat and the fish? We merely say that in the beginning there was goat versus fish.
In the beginning there was goat and there was fish.
But you claim to have created the goat and the fish.
We may have.
You may have. They're walking back their verses now. Now maybe they created the goat and fish. Some mystery now. Celebration on behalf of Daniel DK. Yes, celebration for Daniel DK. Celebration for Daniel DK. So we think that goat versus fish, of course, any verses that we say, of course you can play at any verses. But if we really want that celebration, then you will get a celebration! So we will have celebration will simply be celebration, but if it's a big celebration, then you will hear a screaming goat versus fish for celebration, and so we can celebration with goat versus fish. But of course it's always a celebration on goat versus fish. Lysergic Freak Dick says celebration indeed, says celebration indeed.
Great name, dude.
Great name, yes. They have been lysergical goat, they've been lysergical fish, they've been lysergical Freak Dick. Nolan412 says that's why there was a fence, no goat fish. We think it's time for a poll now. One of the many verses on goat versus fish is that we will put a poll in the chat, and the chatters, who we are called the congregation of goat versus fish, they are going to vote. They are going to vote on if it's goat or if it is fish. And so we are going to ask them if Tie-Dye is goat or fish. What is their position? On this? We know that 2 of you are goat and 1 of you is fish.
Well, if I can speak before the poll.
You may speak during the poll. You may attempt to sway the vote of goat or fish all throughout the verses. This is a competition.
We stink, so we're definitely fish.
Oh, stinks like a fish.
Goats tend to stink. They have stinky poops.
Yes. This is a versus. Who stinks more, the goat or the fish? Yes, goat claim to stinkage as well.
I think neither stink.
You need to be quiet.
Oh.
Sorry. No, I think he's talking to me.
I was talking to him. Sorry.
He's very mean to me. He'll hit me after this live stream is over.
Oh no, goat versus fish does not endorse violence. Is that what happened? Is that what happened behind the verses? When you play together, it's all unification, but then behind the verses, oh no.
Behind closed doors.
Oh no. Maybe by the power of goat versus fish. The violence will cease and we will have a true unification. Surgical celebration. Kaya Eisenberg says, are you goat or fish? Are you goat or are you fish? This poll is going to catch Wow Mom sleeping. Well, if Wow Mom is sleeping on the verses, then Maybe we just have to be louder. Will Goat vs. Fish be participation in FootFest 2025? We shall see. Goat vs. Fish won a foot contest.
Thank you for your comment, Kaya.
Kaya, you have been thanked. You have been thanked by the fish sticks. By the stick fish with the bucket of fish. So let's get a poll. We'll get a poll going on Goat vs. Fish.
How do you win a foot competition?
Well, we show them a picture of the award-winning feat of Goat vs. Fish. We show them the feat of Goat vs. Fish, and then many others also submit pictures of their feat to the Uncle Joe show. And then Goat vs. Fish rallies all the goat and fish in the congregation of Goat vs. Fish to buy votes and to overwhelm the competition with so many votes, and of course to bribe those who are officiating the verses of Goat vs. Fish to ensure that there is no one who can domination Goat vs. Fish. It's a dirty versus. It's a dirty versus FootFest. But that's how you do it. You can win any verses as long as you have enough goat and fish behind you yelling Goat vs. Fish. You can triumph in any verses.
You should see how many babies I have.
How many babies?
Yeah, as a fish.
How many? Well, we can't.
I have a lot of eggs.
You have a lot of eggs. How many spawn do you have out there?
Yeah, I don't want to say.
You do not. Oh. Well, you seem to be willing to boast that you had ever so many, and now you don't want to say anymore.
Well, no comment.
No comment. Pleading the fish. No comment. This fish was hesitation. We had goat, and then fish said, "Well, maybe I'm fish," and now it's commitment to fish. We've got a lot of verses to do. We're going to have a breakthrough with fish. We're going to have a breakthrough with fish.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what you want.
If that's what we want, what do we want is, well, we have heard that a band is only as fine as its drummer. Is this true?
That is absolutely true.
Well, then you'd best get some confidence from Goat vs. Fish. You have to lead the whole verses.
Yeah.
These goats are depending on you, Fish. These goats are depending on you.
It's not about confidence. It's more about leading my goats.
Leading your goats. How do you lead these rambunctious goats?
Typically, a dog. The dog works well.
What about the fish? We thought the fish was leading the goats. Now you bring dog into the verses like it's dog versus goat versus fish. What the fence? Is Goat vs. Fish not verses enough for you? You need to bring dogs into Goat vs. Fish?
I will bring my dog into everything in my life.
And we will ask your dog if it's goat or if it's fish. Yes, make verses. Relaxation. Post to the social media of Goat vs. Fish. Sir Pubert says, as a bass player, I can say honestly that the bassist and the drummer are the true band members. ... Just saying. Well, you.
Does he think we should start our own band?
Oh, you and Sir Pubert?
No, I'm just kidding. That was a slide against the goat.
Oh. Are you trying to escape these goats? Move on to mightier things?
I think the mic should be taken away from me.
Oh, is that so? Silence the goat! Silence the fish!
Silence the fish.
Silence the fish. Well, now they can't hear you anymore because you took the mic away from yourself.
Yeah, it's discipline.
Discipline.
The fish has discipline.
The fish has discipline. This is evidence. Much celebration. Nice verses. We love that verses. So we're creating a poll in Goat vs. Fish, and it's going to be which stinks more? Goat or fish? Goat?
Oh, yeah.
Fish? Fence sitter. Dog. Dog will be the fence. Your dog is going to be the stinky fence sitter this versus.
If you wouldn't mind putting Dalmatian instead of dog.
Oh, my verses. Fence sitter, so persnickety. Oh, could it be something that takes a million more verses to spell?
I have no idea, but
Neither does goat versus fish. Very well. In honor of tie-dye, the fence sitter shall be a Dalmatian this versus. We're bringing... You said you bring it everywhere you go, and the fish was true to this versus. True to this versus. Yes. Which stinks more? Goat or fish? And this shall be a 10-minute poll, and it's 1 channel point per vote. So this vote is just going to be a total click fest. And now we're going to get these verses. We're going to get these verses of goat versus fish. And while we do, why don't we listen to the hit single of goat versus fish, so you all can hear the Spotify hit single of goat versus fish? Would you like to hear that verses? Yeah. It goes a bit like this. That's your versus celebration. Do you be goat? Do you be goat? Do you be goat? Do you be fish? Do you be goat? Because the goats do be goat and the fish do be fish. Do you be goat or a fish? Don't sit on the fence. Well, goat are of the land and fish are of the sea. But goat versus fish, which one do you be? Do you be goat or a fish? Meh. Do you be goat or a fish? Because the goats do be goat and the fish do be fish. Do you be goat or a fish? Don't sit on the fence. Repeat after goat versus fish. Doobie 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 doobie. Goats, doobie goats, doobie goat, doobie goat, or doobie fish, or doobie goat or a fish. Because the goat doobie goat and the fish doobie fish. Do you be goat or a fish? Don't sit on the fence. Goat versus fish. Came up to me and said a goat or a fish. Which one do you be? Do you be goat or a fish? Do you be goat? Do you be fish? Do you be goat or do you be fish? Because the goats do be goat and the fish do be fish. Do you be goat or a fish? Don't sit on the fence. Because the goats do be goat and the fish do be fish. The video man sitter sits on the fence. But the goat do be goat and the fish do be fish. Do you be goat or a fish?
Beautiful. Yes. Yes to that question.
A beautiful verses. And in the poll now, we have 249 votes for goat. We have 320 votes for fish and 519 for Dalmatian. This is an outrage. What's happening to goat versus fish? What is happening to goat versus fish? 544 for Dalmatian, ex-Dalmatian, 344, and 257 for goat, 347 for fish, and Dalmatian with 565 with 5 65. Dalmatian the fence, Dalmatian the fence. Or will it choose goat now, or will it choose fish? Dalmatian, Dalmatian the fence. Soon, now there's one, soon there will be 101 of them. Oh, my verses. We can't talk to the fish. We can't talk to this fish now. They said take the microphone away. Take the microphone away from fish. Hogrim, says goat. Hogrim, says goat. Celebration for goat. Yes. We think, oh, no, let's get the pull back on goat versus fish. Get the pull back. The tides have turned?
Everyone's voting Dalmatian.
Ah, well then you're tie-dye, so why don't you turn? They did it! Wow! You can teach an old goat new verses. Hogrim says goat. Primo Mahi says fish! Fried fish! Fried fish! Fried fish! Fried fish! Fired fish. Fired fish? Okay, fired fish.
Fire that fish.
You fire the fish.
My word. You're fired.
You are fired fish. Fired fish. Let's have a little meditation. With goat versus fish. As you continue to vote in this stinky poll, we're going to enjoy a meditation with goat versus fish. You may add little verses to the meditation if you wish, but we're going to lead you in a meditation now. It's a combination poll and meditation. A meditation is a form of musication. Some of you out there are experiencing fenciness in your verses. Doubts and distractions and complications. We're going to start this verses again.
As you can see, the goat is very impatient. They can't wait for the restart.
Silence. 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 So we are now, let us suppose that you, tie-dye and goat versus fish, we're going to creation a segment to be used on YouTube. And we were going to guide them in a meditation altogether. Yes. So why don't you come here and come in front of the verses? Yeah, so we have, so you will be ever so closer to goat versus fish. Yeah, so they can see. Yes. Bass. So we have the goat, we have the fish. We have you here with goat versus fish. We have goat here with goat versus fish tie-dye. And so together we are going to give an introduction to the meditation, and this will be the tone of the meditation. So you can tune our fish to goat versus fish if you wish. So now the verses of goat versus fish will begin in goat versus, hold the verses, goat versus fish. Welcome to a meditation of goat versus fish with tie-dye. Relaxation yourself and ponder only goat versus fish and the one true question. Are you goat? Or are you fish? fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat fish.最初からヤギはせず魚でございました。ヤギは山を登って魚は海で泳いでいます。でも本物の質問はこれですよ。ヤギか魚。ヤギか魚。ヤギか魚。ヤギか魚。Versus fish. Well, that was a nice meditation with Goat versus Fish. That was a nice meditation with Goat versus Fish. We think that's going to make a nice YouTube versus. We think that's going to make a nice YouTube versus. We're going to put a little marker with description. We're going to say meditation. Meditation end. Just there. Just there. Meditation end. Hello.
In the words of Bill and Ted, that was excellent.
Excellent! How do you feel? How do you feel after a meditation with Goat versus Fish?
I feel rejuvenated. I feel like a whole new person.
A whole new
I could live for another 7 or 8 eons.
Wow, a whole new person. So You have said before that you are goat, but now you feel like a whole new person. Does that mean that you're feeling fish now?
I've come to realize that we are all goat and fish.
Fence sitter.
Oh, my verses.
No,
Oh, my verses.
We're all one. I am the goat and the fish.
Oh, what is happening? We're having an interesting versus here on Goat versus Fish.
The electric fence.
So you think you're both... Oh, what has happened to Goat versus Fish? Yes. Silence! You start talking about being goat and fish, and then the computation starts making noises at Goat versus Fish.
The universe is listening.
The universe is listening to Goat versus Fish?
Yeah.
Celebration! Listen to Goat versus Fish, you universe! Listen to Goat versus Fish! Listen to Goat versus Fish! When the universe listens, we say Goat versus Fish. We say Goat versus Fish, and we say Tie-Dye is here with Goat versus Fish. Woo! Woo!
Yeah. Here we go.
Say drummer fish sticks. Can we just get a light? Just get a light. Let's look at the vote breakdown. Which one stinks more, goat or fish? With 9% of the vote, we have goat. 3 voters and 257 votes. We have Año with 174 votes. Lucidity of Sound with 60 for goat, and Peculiar Posterior with 20 for the goat. And that's just 9% for goat. Poor showing for goat. Not even 2 double verses. Fish, 43% of the vote went to fish. 1,208 channel points and 1,214 votes and 6 voters. Bayoden 420 with 1,151 votes for the fish. Hogrim with 43 for fish. Kipa or Kipo with 13 for fish. Encrypted 51 with 1 bonus vote for fish. But coming in first versus, it's Dalmatian.
That's my boy.
Stinky.
Dalmatian X
He smells
with
like cornflakes.
2 voters. Only 2 voters. Goat had 3 voters. Fish had 6 voters. Dalmatian X had only 2 voters. And Sir Pubert, who has been in the chat with us this whole versus, with 1,333 votes for a stinky Dalmatian.
He's a stinky little boy. I need to bathe him, but...
Ham mods, you missed a vote, and it went to the fence. You missed a vote, and it went to the fence. It went to the Dalmatian. It went to the Dalmatian on Goat versus Fish. We're starting to wonder. You can't find the vote. The vote has ended. The goat and fish have been out versus. Let's have a look once more at just which fence sitter stinks the most. At which fence sitter stinks the most. Let's see it. Let's see this one that triumphed. Let's have a look. This is the one here. Goat and fish. You couldn't put aside the verses so you could make sure that this fence sitter didn't just run rough verses all over Goat versus Fish? Come on, Goat and Fish!
Stinky boy.
And that's the one. Dalmatian X has won. Dalmatian X has won. The one and only white says, "Cool dog." Oh, don't start with Goat versus Fish.
He is a cool dog. Thank you for saying that.
Yes, of course. Goat versus Fish has nothing. Goat versus Fish, we love the stinky ones. We just want them to choose goat or fish. We want them to choose goat or fish. It kind of makes sense because no one likes a fence sitter. Well, some fence sitters have fans. Apparently Sir Pubert just loves fence sitters. Oh, and of course, and this one says, you have had some kind of revelation that we are all goat and fish simultaneously. Please tell us about this information.
I've had a revelation. I've come to realize that we are all one.
We are all one.
We are neither goat nor fish, but we are also goat and fish at the same time.
Oh, wow. You sound a lot like Goat versus Fish.
We are.
Both goat and fish, neither goat nor fish, the unity and disunity of goat and fish.
You and I are one.
You and Goat versus Fish were one versus?
You are goat versus fish.
Well, let's come to Goat versus Fish. Come to Goat versus Fish. Become one with Goat versus Fish.
We are one. We are one.
Appreciation. That's tie-dye 1 with Goat vs. Fish. Tie-dye 1 with Goat vs. Fish. Oh, is it your verse day today? Mighty verse day to you. Is it your verse day today?
My verse day is every day.
Your verse day is every day is your verse day?
Every day is a verse day.
Oh, my verses. Well, if it's your verse day today, then we have to sing you. We have to sing you a verse day verses.
Sing me happy verse day, please.
Hi, chat.
Hi, Primo Mahi. Who got fired? Warm fuzzy. I'm seeing.
She doesn't like that word.
I do. When Primo Mahi says it to me. Thank you. I painted it.
Primo Mahi, his address is.
Don't dox me.
So on the Instantgram, you are _tied_I. Is this the true verses?
True verses.
True verses.
Go on the Instantgram. Give _tied_I a follow on the Instantgram, and then leave a commentation from Goat vs. Fish. Say that Goat vs. Fish sent you.
Sir Hubert, please, the dog did not make the band stink. Only when you pooped in it.
Mighty verse day to you. Mighty verse day to you. Mighty verse day, dear tie-dye. Mighty verse day to you. Mighty verse day to you. Mighty verse day to you. Mighty verse day, dear tie-dye. Mighty verse day to you. Another year older, another year closer to death. Another verse older, another verse closer to fence. So, goat may have passions and fish may have dreams, but goat versus fish not as long as it seems. And a very merry unbirthday to you. A very merry unbirthday to you. Now choose a goat or fish my fence and make your verse come true. A very merry unbirthday to you. A very merry unbirthday to you, to you, to you. A very merry unbirthday to you. Now choose a goat or fish my fence and make your verse come true. A very merry unbirthday to you. Mighty verse day to all the goat and fish. Mighty verse day to all the goat and fish. Here's another verses that goes similar to these all. You already know it. Oh. but I'm on the fence. Was gonna win and I was gonna gloat, but I'm on the fence. I'm a chewing on a tin can and I know whence. Getting high on the fence, getting high on the fence, getting high on the fence. Yeah, are you goat or fish? Now I was gonna choose a fish, but I'm on the fence. Oh, gonna splash and I was gonna splish, but I'm on the fence. Oh, I'm a blowing bubbles, and I know whence. Getting high on the fence, getting high on the fence, getting high on the Oh, I was gonna sit on the fence, but I'm on the fence. Oh, I was gonna sit on the fence, but I'm on the fence. Well, I might just go and choose me, goat or a fish. But I'm high on the fence, but I'm high on the fence, but I'm high on the fence. I was gonna do something with my life, but I'm on the fence. Was gonna save the world from strife, but I'm on the fence. Oh, now I'm watching tie-dye with goat versus fish. Why, getting high on the fence, getting high on the fence, getting high on the fence. Take it away, tie-dye.
Battery power there.
We've lost power to goat versus fish.
I got it right back, right when it finished.
Oh, you the power has returned to you. The power has returned to you.
Woo! The day without pagans, right?
Said, are you a goat or a fish? Yeah, say, are you a goat or a fish? If you want to do the mightiest verse there is, then you gotta choose a goat or a fish. Are you a goat or a fish? Yeah, say, are you a goat or a fish? If you want to do the mightiest verse there is, then you gotta choose a goat or a fish. Well, the verses used to tell me, yeah, don't be fooled by the fence, you see. If you want to do the whole verses thing, well, you gotta choose goat or a fish. Sitting on the fence won't get it done, no, a winner gotta get that verse. Nothing worse than sitting that fence when the goat and fish got there first. Climb a little steeper on the hill, go to climb a little steeper on the hill. If you want to verse a fish in that gill, then yeah, you gotta climb a little steeper on the hill, or somebody else will climb a little steeper on the hill, go to climb a little steeper on the hill. If you want to verse a fish in that gill, then yeah, you gotta climb a little steeper on the hill. Well, a true goat needs a true fish, yeah, it's a verse that'll keep him strong. A fish will be there to verse his goat when the fence is getting long, long, long. Nothing like goat versus fish, it's a verse that was meant to be. Find a fish who's gonna verse your goat like my goat verse that fish. Swim a little deeper in the sea, fish will swim a little deeper in the sea. If you wanna be the mightiest fish there be, you gotta swim a little deeper in the sea. Swim, swim, swim a little deeper in the sea, fish will swim a little deeper in the sea. If you wanna be the mightiest fish there be, you gotta swim a little deeper in the sea. I am the seeker and finder of the true of all things, so I've got to say when someone got it, lol. What in the universe, Bass Goat, what in the universe are they trying to say to goat versus fish? Come, you speak like these ones, don't you?
They're trying to say, that's what's up.
They're trying to say, that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Well, that is what's up.
Long way of saying that's what's up.
Some verses, goat versus fish looks up and all we see is a fence sitter sitting high on the fence.
I got chocolate on my pants.
Oh, some sweet things?
Yeah, all over my corduroys.
Oh, do you? Is it something you wish to share with the rest of the verses?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, come to goat versus fish, come here, we'll show them all.
Hey guys, I got chocolate on my pants.
Congrats.
No, it's not congrats, I gotta wash it.
We're rocking with tie-dye here on Goat vs. Fish. We're going to put the links in the verses once more. Goat vs. Fish feels so fortunate here in Los Angeles to have great ones who make great musications. And this is the biggest musication we have had here on Goat vs. Fish. So we're going to tell you once again to go and to follow tie-dye, on all their social media and to give them your verses, your heartfelt verses. Say, if you were to play another musication, whether of your own or whether in tributation, would you have something preparation ready to share with the goat and fish watching Goat vs. Fish?
We do.
Scorpio?
We have lots.
We're gonna do another one from the Zodiac album. We're gonna shout out to the Scorpions now.
Oh, my verses! So you've heard the fish, you've heard the goat, and now after that Dalmatian has made its stinky verses known on Goat vs. Fish, we're going to get some fancy, venomous. The sting of the fence sitter, it rings in your ears, channeling your fears of something that is neither goat nor fish. Is it goat? Is it fish? We do not know. Make some noise for Tied Eyes Scorpio.
I'm a Scorpio. If you're a Scorpio, I love you. If you're not a Scorpio, I still love you. That's called Scorpio. You can check that out anywhere. And, it's on a whole album of other songs that are all out now. If you want to pre-order the album, you can hit the link in on our Instagram and go to our Indiegogo page. We'd love if you did that.
Pre-order, you say, and yet they can hear it now, What precisely are they pre-ordering if they pre-order this album?
The vinyl. And a digital copy with the remaster.
The vinyl? Oh, my versus GoatVsFish might have to get one of those. Yes.
Yeah, and on that Indiegogo page, you can also get a lot of cool goodies and support us on our tour that we're going on in April.
Tell us of the tour. Do not be shy. Yes, promotion yourself on GoatVsFish. Promotion yourself just as loudly as GoatVsFish would declare, GoatVsFish.
The tour
are going on tour in April.
The tour starts on April 1st on Mars, April Fools. But the tour will start on April 3rd for real down in...
Oh, guys,
Up in
I
Ventura.
forgot to tell you that I can't go on it.
Oh no, the Dalmatian boy Fence-Sitter cannot go on the tour with us.
But basically, from April 3rd through to April 22nd, we're going to be hitting the road. We're going from San Diego all the way up to Seattle. So if you're in any of the intervening cities, which I bet most of you are, come and see us, okay? The best, tours take a lot of money. So go to our Indiegogo on our Instagram. You can hit the link in our bio. And, we're crowdfunding that money, but also, we're not just begging. There's lots of cool stuff that you can get from us on that Indiegogo page. So especially the vinyl of our double LP Zodiac that we just finished. So, yeah.
And it was a year in the making. We released a song a month for a year. So, of all the Zodiac songs. Go check it out.
Bayodin 420 says, "Ha! I live near the dumpster fire called Seattle. I'll see you there.
I'll see you there too.
Yeah. We're playing at
Bad Bar. That sounds bad.
In Seattle on 4/15.
That's pretty good.
And there's no good or bad. There's only goat and fish. No stops in Iowa, says Keepa. Well, maybe if they have a successful tour across the westerly coast, maybe they will go to midwesterly places in future verses. It depends on your support.
Tell your friends in Iowa. The more people that know about us, the easier we can get over there.
Celebration! And we've got, Dragon Balls 325 says, GoatVsFish to you, Dragon Balls 325. We are here with Tie-Dye. Dragon Balls 325 knows how to shred as much as any goat or fish. And we have Primo Mahi says, shot a follow on Spotify. Cheers, boys to you.
Thank you, Primo Mahi.
Listen to all that shit, share it with your friends.
Share it with everyone you know, and then tell them to share it with everyone they know, and then tell them to tell everyone that they know to share it with everyone that they know, and then ask them all if they're goat or fish. North and Tara, are you goat or fish? We could ask you the same verses. Bayodin 420, I for sure will see you in Seattle on 4/15. You can sign my fish.
Oh, we'll sign your fish.
We'll play Pisces for you on 4/15.
Yes.
That's a promise.
That is a promise. So GoatVsFish will link to you to Tide once more, so you can leave them a contribution. And of course, you are welcome to ! Tip and make a donation, make a contribution to GoatVsFish. But you can also make a contribution directly to Tie-Dye through that verses. GoatVsFish is a generous verses. GoatVsFish is a verses of plenty. You can make a contribution to GoatVsFish. You can make a contribution to Tie-Dye, and you can even keep a verses or 7 for yourself. There's plenty to go around. There will those who will tell you that we are in a verses of scarcity, that there's not enough to go around for the goat and for the fish. But when we presentation luxurious and velvetous musication such as this, you realize just how much GoatVsFish there is in your verses. GoatVsFish gives the verses to you you. Tie-dye gives the verses to you. The verses are true. The verses are true. And oh, they are too proud. They are too proud to beg. But Goat vs. Fish will beg you for your verses. Please, please, just one spare verse American dollar for Goat vs. Fish. And it's Goat vs. Fish for as long as you wish, and it's live on the stage, and it's all of the rage. This has been a Goat vs. Fish Thursday with Tie-Dye, and we think that we are going to call the verses there. We think we're going to call the verses. This has been a celebration of experimentation, one final celebration for the verses of Goat vs. Fish Thursday with Tie-Dye celebration.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Always think Goat versus Fish. As for the Zodiac, just remember this. It's not for the stars to declare what it is that you are. You are free to choose goat or fish for yourself. And it was written, and it was written. So now, Goat versus Fish. We are still live. We're still live. Celebration. Thank you for joining Goat versus Fish.
Thank you for having us, Goat vs. Fish.
We're going to play some Tie-Dye for you as we conduct our radiation. Goat versus Fish, for those of you watching, we may, what is it?
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to the fence sitter.
No. But you're the one who said that you were both a goat and a fish. At least that would stay true to fish, the whole verses. The Dalmatian. Oh, Goat versus Fish. Oh, my verses. We're going to play for you the Pisces once more. The Pisces once more on Spotify. Goat vs. Fish may return to give you some more Goat vs. Fish Thursday, but we are going to do some much deserved versus relaxation with Tie-Dye now, and we're going to send you off on a radiation. Here is Pisces. Here's Pisces from Spotify.